Thokozani bogogo nabomkhulu. It's Wednesday. I'm Gogo Lerato. I'm Gogo Kandalembube. I'm so late today. I had a reading that ended just now, and you know what? This lady, she resurrected me. And she also inspired today's topic. I wanted to do a topic on umsamo, but this one is pretty close to it. All right, let's read the Bible and then get to today's lesson. Bitselang tate la morwa le mahelang, amen. Dinaheng tsohle tsa mmuso wa hao ho na le setjhaba se itseng se hasahaneng hara ditjhaba tsohle tse mmusong wa hao. Melao ya setjhaba seo e fapane le ya ditjhaba tsohle tse ding, mme setjhaba seo ha se boloke melao ya kgosi. Ka baka lena kgosi e keke ya fumana molemo wa letho ka ho tlohela setjhaba seo. Amen. This is the book of Esther, chapter 3. Book of Esther, chapter 3, verses 8. Book of Esther. Thokozani, I hope my phone doesn't ring again. Ara rappelling, and then we start today's class. Ntatarna magodimong bitso la o laletswe o tle moswa ha o thatwetse lefatsheng jalo ka etswa le hodimo o re feka jene bo bo re lekane ba tsa senleleng o re tshwarele melato ya rona jalo ka o re tshwarela ba re sitelwang o se re se moleko merulane ho ye mobe bane muso ka o le matla le khanye le khayo jalo ka o sa feeling. Amen. Okay, I'm going to do just a prayer in Tataruna Magodimong today for the purpose of today's class. So the topic is navigating prophetic sporofito, stunywa, balotsi, nzuza spirits, mermaid spirits as well, with ancestral spirits, ubungoma, mndao, wasitsu, and that, all right? I know gore ke re mndao wasitsu, and it's probably for lack of a better word, because it's probably because of lack of a better word, because I've heard of many different explanations of mndao spirits, mdawe. I've heard all of those, so I don't want to offend anybody. It is for purpose of that. All right. So what I wanted to say was that I think I've done a class on Siporofito Libungaka together, right? I've done a class on Bungaka Tsupi. I've done a class on Malopo. And if you guys look at the traits of these spirits, especially Bungaka Tsupi le Malopo, you see that there is Ubungoma and Siporofito mixed together, right? However, Malopo, we've said, is mainly Banaba the Rain Queen. Ngakatsupe, ngakachicha, ngamagedla. So they don't twasa, right? And the word gedla is leaning more towards the ancestral version, right? And like I said in previous videos, Zionist spirits, color green, ngamagedla, right? More towards isintu. You get amagedla aparang blue and white, more towards bungakatsupi again, right? Or more towards ubugedla, but in the more probably Setswana and that in the more apostolic way, right? I've also spoken about the two different churches and how things are different, in the sense that Ezayoni, it is more never abandoning the ancestral element of your gift. So they make it pretty clear that, look, Idlozi stays, right? Even though they don't necessarily bapathe or anything in their church, but it's pretty clear. And then in the more apostolic churches, Idlozi is sort of mentioned as ingelosi. So Idlozi is still there, like apostola, right? It's there, but not mentioned as Badimu. It's mentioned of as ingelosi, it's mentioned of as God, and that is supposed the two differences, right? So Now, how do you navigate when you've been given a spiritual gift, a prophetic one, and you also dream of yourself wearing amabayi, wesintu, and having amashoba and ukita, right? Right. I'm going to try to just jump right into it. Maybe our class might be a bit short today. I hope so. All right. Now, what I want to speak about today are people who've got prophetic spirits from an apostolic view, the blue and white, or the white, and ubungoma spirits, which if you could move them to a church is a Zionist church. There are people like that unedlozi epostile, and then unedlozi eZion as well, right? And then dingaka ka mogare now, and you don't know, do you build a ndumba after you twasa? Do you not twasa? Do you have amakosi? Do you build a church? What do you do? Okay. So we're going to look at blue and white specifically and bungaka basitsu, right? So I'll say this, abogogo nabomkhulu, this is how it actually relates nomsamo. Umsamo wagini, umsamo wakuhalona, where your mom and your dad were married and living together. Typically msamo oyalo, banyalane gantle, go sena any issues tsa sedimo, and none of them had a gift that they didn't work. Umsamo njalo would typically be a grass mat. So these would be badimu basitso ngamagel, right? If they decide to give you ubunyanga or ubungoma in the church way, then they'll give you a Zionist spirit. This means the Zion, for me, it represents a paternal spirit, a father spirit. So this spirit now, your mom and your dad are married, gahle, abokoko and abomkhulu from both sides of your families, there's no squabbles. I mean, you do get that, right? And isintu silandelwe kahle. Then where you pray and phahla, gini, right? At your home, you will have a grass mat. And when you need to make an offering, widlozi lakho, regardless of whether idlozi lakho lifaga i blue and white or i green and white, right? There's going to be an element, yabungoma, and imbuzi will become something that idlozi lakho would be willing for you to slaughter, right? Because now your mom and your dad's side, bashap, akonaras. So you, their child, considering that there's never been ancestral issues, zasemsamo, you can go in, slaughter imbuzi for your lidlozi immediately. You don't need ukuthi uhlabe any other animal, right? They'll just tell you ukuthi sifuna imbuzi emhlophe or a dark brown one. A white mbuzi would be related to the fact that unedlozi that wants to work ngesonto, right? And then imbuzi brown would be idlozi elifuna ukusebenza ngesinguni or even umdawo. Some people will say that. And I know ukuthi emaphehlweni amanye, or rather the old petlos, you would slaughter a white goat at your mom's house, your mom's family, to say ukuthi umnguni wakho phuma lapho. Why? Because your mother gave birth to you. So kastswana re wana witwiki mmagwe. Mnguni, the first dlozi that comes out first, right? The first sense of ikaya comes from your mother's womb. So you would slaughter a white goat. And then you would go to your father's family and slaughter a dark brown goat, all brown, right? And then uqedile. So if umsamo wetu was completely aligned, then it would be very easy for us just to slaughter the two goats, nenkuku for abalozi and let me say mermaid spirits, because they generally don't really want anything from you, right? Namanono and that. You could do inkuku ezimbini on two sides, and then your two goats with ilati on your mother's side as a thank you, and ugraduate ubungoma bakho, and then let that be that. There wouldn't necessarily even be a need for ispandla unless ispandla is tradition gini. So if you are nguni, specifically umzulu, right, then you would actually only put on ispandla for that reason, right? There wouldn't be a need for ispandla, right? Or rather, I don't feel ukuthi amadlozi would choose ispandla as a sign of ubunyanga bakho, right? You'd probably have ispandla already from both your parents, from your father's house, if everything was done, right? So that's typically that's what would happen, right? And clearly, both amadlozi akho, both your mother and your father's marriage, with the issues zamadlozi emuva, right? Amadlozi emuva, your grandparents moving onwards would now move into Mdau and Mlozi and Nzuza space, where if there were issues emuva, then you would just resolve them through isonto or ugezwe and that type of thing. It would just be that. It would not, you wouldn't need to twice amadlozi as a mover. So now, because imisamo yetu are so maybe twisted, right? Let me say it like this. Because komsamo, Ntate John, ka gore ko badimo ko sedimo sa gago ko phatlhang teng, right? Go na le mo kopano is sing the way it should be. Go na le mo e leng gore sedimo ga sa dula sentle. Now that's where you get the entry of Seporofito. And I know you guys, I mean, a lot of people were like, oh, they were looking at me snacks. Kiris Profito is actually Bungaka Babului, actually. Sprofito is actually Badimu Barona ko Murago, who were not doing what they should have done. Right. So that's actually what Sprofito is. When a child gets a prophetic gift, there are elements of either msamohawatsita or honale some issues ko sidimong sa gago maybe coming from you, because that's another thing. That's another reason, another very big reason why we are called ke badimo ba rona. And I'm just going to say this in passing. It's also another big reason why you are not supposed to usimulle ka ntwaso. Because sometimes badimo ba ko gabolona, let's say ke Batswana, right? Batswana ba itlhabela nku most of the time, right? Ba itlhaba pudi, I know. Certain people ba Batswana ba tlhaba nku. But ba bang, I mean pudi, ba bang ha ba itlhabi pudi, ba tlhaba nku, right? As much as batho ba ko bogosing, especially ka Setswana, they don't have a need for pudi, right? So because now sidimu sakogenu is fractured, or wena, the individual, you are fractured, right, from msamo wa kogenu, then that means gore mundau, which is supposed to be a karmic spirit, right, and mundau is actually supposed to balance limlozi from a prophetic, from a spiritual place, right? I've spoken about this many times. Or rather, let's call it mdao uthanse a balance limguni. Nguni, we would say, for lack of a better word, speaks to badimu baka mochai, right? But mlozi is the overall energy of the universe, and even the overall energy of sidimu sakukhalona. So because mundao is in excess, because one of you, either badimu or even you, have departed from kumsam, now we get the entry or the beginning of Seporofito. Right? That is where we get the beginning of Seporofito. Right? Unless, like I'm saying, uli Motswana or uli whatever, ko galona go tswa ka nku le nku, or badimo ba lona ke batho ba ko bogosing, because batho ba bogosi ba nyalana le batho ba bogosi, right? Then mo go berekwang ka nku le nku, then your ancestry being away or departed from Komsamo is not an issue. The issue becomes you. Okay, like I'll give an example. Let's say ko gabo mamaka ba mogela ngwana ka nku. I know ka Sotho they do that. Ba nanela ngwana ka nku. Not a problem. Then kwa bo papaka le bone ba ira mmereko wa bana, or ba ira mesebetsi ya bone ka nku. Firstly, when my mother and my father get married, go tla tlhabiswa bogadi ke dinku tse two. Rona re berekise dipudi akere. Sharp. And then so ke tsele dinku tsele di tlhabilwe ba sherelane di half. Mama ka wa mogelwa go tlhabiwa nku mole go sherelane di half. Not a problem. Nna ke le ngwana bone ke a tlhaga ke tlhabelwa nku go a jiwa go ananelwa. Then a gona bothata, but nku yeo now means if ke tlo thwasa badimo, most definitely I'm going to have a makosi element to my gift. Most definitely. And secondly, the second lead spirit will probably be balozi. Ebe gotla nzuza, because nzuza le balozi, they go together, right? Maybe Manono, they could have started kwa le makosi, because Manono are just a younger version or smaller version of makosi, right? And then kebe gotla sthunywa ko morago. So now I'll be white and blue and yellow. Right. If kifiwa a gift ke badimo from my mother and my father's side, because na go berekiswa dinku and musamu siame, then ke tla fiwa black and white nkwe and all of that. Some families or some badimo, they wouldn't require me ke le lerato, because when everything ka nku and the right way, they wouldn't require me gore ke apara di color. Maybe my strongest color will be white. Modimo ka o motona will be white. Right? Not a problem. So this would be the gift ebang kabetseng yona badimo. And then I meet up with my boyfriend in high school. I have a child. Now, msamo, I have departed from my msamo and not the ancestry. Msamo wako ga o tsitsitse gore o wa segosi kwa barapedi. Right? I got pregnant, aka nyalwa. You must remember now, msamo o ileng gore go phagamiswa lenyeloi or the water spirits will be msamo o ileng gore the law of the Bible will be very important. So according to the Bible, I've had sex before marriage. So ke thuile molao wa sedimo sa ko gae. And I'm the one who is departed. Right? Kereke, yes, ke ikena or not, sedimo se teng. So, two things will happen. Let's say ke kena kereke, ke tla ke lo ipobola ko kerekeng. Now you know why people ba khaola ko di kerekeng tsa bone. Right? It is on the assumption ya gore msamo ko berekang ka prophet or the water spirits. Actually. So, ke a khaola, now ke swa ko kerekeng, ke lo ipobola. Right? Lutheran churches. And now you guys also understand why badimbalna baba kenang bo Luthere bo Wesele, these Wesleyan churches, these churches. Why even habatlamoluna balefa a prophetic gift still? Because largely they believed in this. So ke tla go kerekeng ke lo ipobola. Ha ke fetso kra ngwana ko gae, ngwana o, right? Ke last born ya ko gae. Akere. Le nna ke tlo nweswa 11's essence gore go thubege madiale go siame. Right? Pele, my father would probably try to ship me off somewhere, ke fitliwe until ano go tlhaga last born ya go gae. Right? And gore ke boele ko msamo wa go gae gore go lukise, two things must happen. Rago ngwana previously inele bo malume ba gage ba ba yang ko papaka go ilo bua ka taba ya ntlaolo a patale damage ya ngwana a ntlaolo ne se paternal rights, ntlaolo ke maitshwarelo, because ba itse gore now ko msamo wa go gae go tsentswe madi a sedimo sa ko ntle. Right? I'm going to get to that. So batla bantsha ntlaolo e tla ba kgomo whatever, kgomo eo e tla ba yone e fananang ka lebese and what not. Ra go ngwana ya nong after mo nna le ene bona ra bolella gore tlhalna e fedile. A gona nthori he is the father of my child. Fedile. Ngwana o ha o fetsa go moanyisa le wena wa bolellwa gore you will never o bolelle ngwana gore ke ngwana gago. This child will always be your sibling. Papa wa nyamela goes back to wherever he came from. Gone. Linna, I'm not allowed to ask for maintenance from him. I'm not allowed. Right? Khomuyele as well. La go fanane ka yone for kopo ya maitshwarelo. Probably it tla tlhabiwa ngwana sa etsa a year or so. Khomuyele ke ya go tsitsisa sedimo sa ka mo gae. Or yes, you might see a different bloodline in here. Ka khomu it's bigger than pudi le nku. Ya karetsa sedimo kaofela. Ya karetsa the higher self, them laws. Then badimo ba khona hore ba go gae ba re okay, khomu ka khomu modimo a nkwe metsi. O ka re gona le a different bloodline here, but don't worry. Re mo beya ka mo tlase ga nko modimo a nkwe metsi wa ka mo gae. Tlhabiwa khomile. Go fedile. The child will continue gore a gole. However, nna yanong I've departed from msamo wa ko gae. Ke tlogile ko setsong sa ko gae. Right? Then that is why batho ba pele ine ra o fetso bana le ngwana. The next man you date o tlo nyadisiwa. They need to do that to keep msamo wa bone sekono. Right? O tshantse o nyadisiwe ko your next husband or rrago ngwana. Wa nyadisiwa. So that baba salang ka mo ntlung ba sale ka mo ntlung. Right? And then let that be that. If o nyadisiwa monna o mong o iseng papa go ngwana, then ngwana wa sala mo gae ke sibling. And then wena wa tsama. Le go senya le corruption ya gago ya msamo. Right? But wa khapiwa sentle ka molao gore o go fitlhiwe botlhaswa ba gago. Right? Into sedimo se seng sa go gabo monna gago because sedimo se le bone they've chosen you willingly ka khomo. Through the love ya monna gago. So wa go nyala wa tsama. So there, with me, now, msamo has been corrected. If kinyalwa. If I kinyalwa ke adula mo gae, well, gora gore yano ke tla emela lenyalo or I will continue to work. Right? But, ka ngwanole, even though go tlhabilwe khomo, even though go tlhabilwe khomo, if anybody can leak it out, mo ngwaneng o, sedimo se segolo modimo wa nkwemetsi wa ananela re ngwana kwamo mara ka re family tsa rona di a speed whoever o ka bolella ngwana le ra go kiole the knowledge ya ngwana o that is why balotsi ba bua mo ditsebeng because mlozi is an overall universal spirit then the knowledge ya ngwana o gore a utlwe ka tsebe ya gagwe means that now munguni wa ngwana ole wa nnete o tlatla le mundao possibly but mundao wa teng e tla ba mundao wa dikoko again e tla ba mundao wa ko metsing wa dikoko ene ngwana o tla tlhabelwa fela dikoko ko metsing quietly a kene kereke a bana le gift ya bo profeta a ska itse why ana le gift ya bo profeta whereas ka mo gae a gona ngaka ya mo profeta right now this is also where Israel comes in because now go Israel our belief is in God right we believe mo modimo however because ki Israel who is Israel people don't know only awake and then you know. Israel is a generic term for many differentiations of God. But now rona ka setso we say modimo ke khomo ya nkwemetsi. So Israel means that can be modimo in many forms. But now if modimo is in many forms then it means gore le sedimo can be in many forms. So how can I go Israel? What are the chances that you would be twassing your biological father's people? Munda wa ko gabo papa gago wa nnete although msamo wa lona yanong has been cleansed and ulukisitswe. That is why it's important go kena go Israel. Because now you are actually twassing indirectly, right? Go Israel we don't believe in badimo bagolo, we don't do badimo, right? But I'm giving you guys an outsider's view. or rather an internal view of the purpose ya Israel. There are many purposes and there are many ways to see God. And Israel is the best place to see the different versions of God. So if you can see the different versions of God in your life, it means that Libadimu, you would be able to have different interpretations. Because we are looking at Dimu. Si Dimu, Badimu, Mudimu. Right? So, Wanawa yano would go, Abanelim Loz, or Mundawaho Parolanko meeting. Fedi, Oshap. And then Mundawa thing would still require one or I can go again because now Mudimu Metsi wako high. Kiana Mudimu mok amelang wano. So akasika ilo tasa sidimu sasa sitting. And Mudimu mo high ka reberiki sa dinku, ki makosi so ubara kaka kereke, ubereka ka di water spirits. Wana utla kena kereke. Right. Another mother. Kena otlilenka bloodline engwe, right? I'm the one who's raised the Mundao, the karmic energy of the family. I've raised it, but kinyetsu now. Where now I can go and exercise that karmic energy, ko kinyetsu them because koho, then badimu baka are the ones they can help me when they like. But koho, mulawa mole, mandawa mole, badimba mole, they just might be mixing with the new version of me. So African spirituality caters for the evolution and the mistakes of people. Right. So I know referits. So Arariano, you've got profit. So now you understand where profit is supposed to be coming from, right? That is profito from a badimu point of view. Now you understand why lina le badimu bailing baba profit. And badimu bateng don't want you to call them badimu, and they don't want ndumba. And the Batobateng will tell you they don't believe in badimu. They believe in the living God. It is because Sidimu on the mother and the father side, they've agreed on a Makosi point of view, but not only a Makosi, but Nzuza prophetic water spirits, because right. So let's say Kukai Mulao ke ubeilwe. Ke since the first time. Ka etsa ngwana. Kwa lukisiwa. Right? Kanyal. Let's say ke meno mo venda. Ka se venda ba ilo ntlhabela pudi or whatever the case. Or kanyalo a go afetswa magadi. Aka. Or sometimes because batsadi ba rona ba kwata, right? Because you had a child too early. It's like they're shipping you off. Now I'm bringing rise to a corruption ya msamo. Msamo wako kiyanting. If ke sa amogelwa. And then msamo wa mogai if go sa tlhabiswa magadi because modimo ole wa nko emets ha itse gore ke tsamaile. And that is also why bokoko na bomkhulu ba dimbalona ba le senyeletsa di relationship. They don't know gore le tsamaile. You are living with your boyfriend, because I'm not tlhabelwa ko galona, whether go tlhabiwa o pudi or nku, tlhabetse. Right? Khujwane gago e robetse mole, e tsetetse ko galona. Now you've left, right? Monno yena o ntshitse magadi ntshitse tšhelete ra tsamaya ro itulela ko ntlong ya rona. Right? Go ga bona ba ntse ba tlhaba dipudi ba tlhabela badimo ba bona. Ha ba tlhabela badimo ba bona, ke etsa bana go se dimong sele. But aka tswa ko gae. Munda waka ha itse gore ke tswile. But wa bona gore madi aka a nkga ko pele kwa go go tlhabiwang dipudi. Right? Now every time those people le bone ba tlhaba diphologolo tsa bone, by virtue of these children that I've got with this man, I've given rise to now a new type of msamo. A hybrid. Kuna le wa ko gae o tsitsitseng. Kuna le wa ko monnaka o tsitsitseng or not. And then kuna le msamo e leng bana ba ba rona ya nong le monnaka re itse re fetse go nyalana. Kwa mango. Ke msamo o ile gore o dumalana le tshebetso ya sedimo sa mole le tshebetso ya sedimo sa kamo. Bana ba ke ba mang gantle because aka tswa ka molao or mama kana kwatile whatever. Bana ba ke ba go gae but munda wa bone go jarateng ha ba bona go tlhabiwa o re ea but o bona bloodline ya gagwe le there comes the rise of a ngaka and more prophet gift. A gift ya bongoma bokoko na bomkhulu le sprofeto means gore on the two sides of the families things have not been done correctly. And here's the thing, wena the twasa, the new msamo, because umsamo by virtue of go phileng ga gago, you are a mixture of the bloodline. So whether go tlhabi or go tlhabiwi kwa lona, umsamo, right? And you the msamo, you can go ko kerekeng, a gona bothata. This side of your msamo ya sprofeto, ya go ga bommago ya dinku, will be happy with that. Oye o bereke ka kereke o bereke go tla monda wa gago ka mole wa puti are but runa we are Zionists runa dingaka tshupe. What is she doing there? It's a fire a dule tsu khumsha gagolo. The next thing kereke ya go bora or you start to lose interest. But the thing is that moya ole wa borapedi wa go rapela ko kerekeng o khonza ha o tswe mo wena. You just can't rwala ditlhako tsa gago ye ko kerekeng. You just can't do it anymore, right? Wa kena then bo kereke ya moya bo Sioni go ka etsagala because Sioni because of tuku a green, the green part go tshore go na le bongaka ole mondao a ka dumela because green ye ke bokela and yellow ke balotsi ba ko thabeng ke badimo ba ko thabeng. Right? So ke bagolo bao. And normally yellow ke bagolo from your mother's side. So ba ke bagolo from your father's side, ba ke bagolo from your mother's side. And that is why go sione go te bagolo. Ke bagolo mo ka nnete. Right? Ba ka dumela e be go tla mme wa mmago. Mmago comes and says, but gore these kids must be there. Go lemetse nna mos. Go lemetse nna. I gave birth to their mother. Ka moya wa ko gae wa white and blue. Wa borapedi wa nku. Bana ba nkebe go sa wa nna letsele. Ke sacrifice ke dule mo lenyalong le whether la ntini or a lentini. Gore ba mabona a beteng. Then there wouldn't be any of this. So now nna ke le motswala mme koko. These kids, they belong to me. Because li ena o tswile so la re sa mo tlhabisetse. Ara mo tlhabisetse so a ka dumela go ranyalo. Go tshoro jumper fence. Then go kena moya wa bopostola. Mage message rona re tlhaba dinkumo. Father's father says, but why? Kanti. Right? And there's the birth of Ubungoma, this prophet. My msamo as well, ko gae, because ke itsamaisitse. Msamo wa ko gae is corrupted now a second time. Msamo wa baby daddy ole wa pele technically is corrupted. Because that guy, untitse sperm, untitse a seed. Ya sedimo sa kwa bone, a tlo e latlhela ko ga motho mong. And we don't know this seed ya ko morago how far le gore mmere kwa yone ke eng. Sidimo sa mole could be sidimo sa tšhelete sa khumo. O tsere that seed a tlo e kenya in my house. And that is what makes likereke ya spirit so important. Because now we start to acknowledge a God who can bless and address his nation bali in another place. Bali mo nageng e nngwe. Ase naga bona. But they are worshiping their God. Why? It's that seed, yeah, the baby daddy. Imo. Right? Yes, ufana nika chelete. Kwantiwa khomu tsamele. Usiala. Right? So now, my msamo, baby daddy's msamo, le my husband's msamo, messed up. Osinyegile. Gantle ka sedimo, we should, the three of us, be tossing. Right? My baby daddy ufana nika seed. Ana taba wa furalla. Badimo ba kwa bone, they'll be angry. Mundao kyo lowe maka maotoko. Right? Badimo ba kwa gae, le bone they are not happy. Wana bone they are flower o sentswe. Right? Munna ka le ene yanong unyetse, it was not in his control gore mama ka batla tlhabisa magadi because mama ka batle ke nyalwe. Maybe na sedimo sa kwa mama ka se batle monole le sedimo sa mole sa dipudi. Now o ntse re ke mo etseditse bana. His ancestry lone is not correct now. Because now badimo ba kwa bone ba botsa gore go na le mopostola ka and rona re maza yone. Bana kiba. So that is the importance of the two gifts. All right. So if you guys can think about it, two things have happened here. My son, my daughter, has been ancestrally adopted. So my son is adopted. My mom and dad. Right? Le nna ya nong ke adoptisa kwa bo monaka. Khoya lenyalo le ba monate. Goye. Right? Probably because from my husband's side, maybe khona le koko who was married who's got an apostolic gift. And she says, guys, I get these people. You understand? Go tsore khona no re bana ba kene kereke. Bana ba kena kereke go ba monate. Ne? Nako haiya. Modimo wa mole wa nnete says, we don't want you. Who are you? Modimo wa ko gae is going to make me to perceive my mother-in-law ka wa lawyer. Why? Because ene o kene ka molao mole. Ke ene mme wa mole. Nna ke cherry aka tlhabelwa mole. So of course, whatever that my mother-in-law and my in-laws do, ka molao wa bona, it will look like witchcraft to me. Because I'm an outsider. Right? So now there it is. My husband le ene relationship go tlaya go senyega. Tlo senyega bo kokona bo mko. It doesn't matter yang. Tlo senyega. Right? So then why? I'm forced to go back home. Right? Now, I go back home like the Israelites. But kinkile mekgwa ya ko Egipeta. I've sat there, go tlhabiwa, ke ntse bana mole. So ke tla le bana bale who are actually now bana ba mo gae. Ba ke dutseng le bone le papa bone for some years. Ke tlile ka molao wa ko Egipeta now. Now I'm back more. Ko lenyelweng la blue and white, ke tlile ka lenyelweng la red and white, la bosangoma. Right? So most definitely now, my children, badimba bone ba ka se tlhole ba ba tlogetse and never. Because ba tlhabetse ko baby daddy. La ba sa tlhabela bo kokona bo mkhulu. The moment ke simula ke fa bana sfani sele sa mole. Right? Because from a spiritual place, Mudimu starts with the voices. That's why repatha. So libito la gago bo kokona bo mkhulu and your surname, your name and your surname. Ke a phatla o bitsa Modimo wa kwa yeno. Right? So now, baki ba mo, rekamo, go red and white, go blue and white, at a place mo go leng blue. Bana ba tlo thwasa le bona. Le nna now, ke tshantse ke thwase. Ke lukise sedimo sa ko gae. E tlo ba dinku. But I've been exposed to nguni ole. Now badimo need to find a way. Right? Gore now ba mpuse ko morago. So ba etsang? Then they say, kena ko kerekeng ya sephiri. Why? Because now, wena, Israel, motho wa mo, o goletseng kwa ko Egipeta, you're not supposed to be there. But Modimo go lokolotse there. Come here. Come back o tlo rapela Modimo gago. So you need Israel. Right? So that is the point of both gifts. So how do we align the two gifts? How feel a gift as prophet le bongaka? I bet you 99% of the time, right? Se profeto is coming from sidimu sa gago se se leng incorrect or idlozelibi. Because that's prophet. If we are all ba apostola, re kena kereke apostol apostola go dula le dlozi la mang mo go na le dlozi la motho. So it means go apostola speaking about kereke because re bua ka modimo gore ke mang or ke kae or badimo ba ka ba yang, it makes no difference. So sedimo se that is not supposed to be there but is there normally ke sone se go fang seporofeto, or ke sedimo sa dlozi elibi. Dlozi elibi would be your mom's mom a swetsa your mom gore a ska nyalwa, right? Because a le angry your mom o ntse ngwana a le go sekolong, or e leng mama gago from a higher place a se aware from laws gore molozi wa ka mo jarteng or monda wa mo jarteng ha batle gore ngwana lona a kopane le sedimo sa mole, right? So that's where the rise of seporofeto would come from. From the paternal side, let's say with regards to those kids, so our children with this supposed husband, they most definitely need gore ba bule kereke or bongaka ba seporofeto ba komiti, most definitely. Why? Because papa bona se papa bone wa sedimo. Their father is my brother, malume wa bona. Except malume bone, they are not using malume's surname, unlike firstborn ile yaka. Ba berekisa their father's surname, who is technically now malume. We've made another guy like a spiritual father because he's the biological father. So those kids barona ba tshwanetse ba ilo thwasa sedimo sa kwa bo papa bone as seporofeto to say we don't belong here. We don't. But ka seporofeto modimo wa mogela mang le mang, and modimo could do and take the Israelites through the nations, even luko Egipeta. So these kids take on an Egipeta role. It's actually ko Egipeta. We were not meant to be there. Our parents are not married. Then batsansi babule seporofeto sa blue and white. And then badimo ba ko gae ba, when I use the analogy, ba nentse ba berekisa nku. Now these kids, by virtue of the surname ya bona, ke bana ba malume, but not now because they're using a wrong surname. Then nku yele ha esa tlo ba nku, e tlo ba pudi, because I care ba tswa go dipudi. Ba tla ba tlo tlhaba pudi e white go gae. Ba tsa mekgwa ya Egipeta ba e busetsa Israel. It's important because even Moses, he was called in a foreign land where he was not supposed to be. So they come and they bring that. Now these kids, most probably have a prophetic gift. It will come from my mother's side. You will see the sign of the ankh and not the cross. Then these kids will have the sign of the ankh and not the cross. They will have the sign of the Egyptian ankh. Actually re thwasitse badimo ba bongoma ka mo kerekeng and not bas prophet. So that being said, then you will have an ankh and not a cross. Because now the cross would be, well, I suppose, by Israel, but Israel. Right. But now you are an Egyptian in the Israelite place. Right. So how then would you navigate your prophetic gift? And let me say this. When you've got two of these gifts, but your families, and they're not supposed to. Because how did you end up being here? Right? And that's why they've chosen to ignore idlos. We would assume they ignore the because basile. No. If you're a child of rape within the family, what would be the purpose ya mama gago to tell you that? Right? So, akabatla fela gore o kene kereke o tlhabelwe ka nku ka seporofeto kganye fela. If your mother gave you up for adoption or whatever, you're adopted, what would be the purpose of your parents telling you that? Right? None. So they won't entertain taba ya badimo. Because yaba pressa yanung this thing to make you must be okay. then idlozi must be almost ignored, right? They feel they're doing this for you. Maybe they are. Maybe they're doing this for themselves, partly happy, right? So then that is why you would need to pursue the prophetic gift first. Why? The prophetic gift is to say, I acknowledge whatever mistakes that were made kumrago. And I acknowledge even my own mistakes. And they could have been as a result of my mistakes may have been as a result of a karmic debt. But ke a leboga for what you've given me. You go back with as prophet unku. Ke bulela badimo modimo o rapelang. Right? Go bua nnete bo koko na bomkhulu. Motho before a ka kena di agelo or before a ka kena kompandeng, you should consider Israel. And people will say Israel, yes, as a twaso. It's true, as a twaso. But the thing is that you don't know who Israel is. So if you don't know what Israel is, and I've given you guys like a small narrative that'll give you a very big clue. It means then that any interpretation of Manyeloi Akuhaluna, they can function through there. How? The same way that Manyeloi Aluna can function through St. John. Kereke eo ke St. John, go tlo lenyelwe la mole ke St. John. John, probably John the Baptist. Bagolo ba kereke ba okamedi ba kereke ba teng. Ko IPCC mo okamedi ke ntate Modise. Ko ZCC ke ntate Lekganyane. Ko St. John ke mema Ana le ntate Masango. Those are the gatekeepers of manyelwe a dikereke tsa bona. Lenyelwe la kereke ke Zion Christian Church. The gatekeeper mogolo mokamedi wa mo ke mang ntate mogolo Lekganyane. So from there on, then badimo ba gago can allow you gore o kene under lenyeloi la a particular church le mokamedi wa teng. Because they're from there, the secret ya family ya kwa enu gore who did what wrong, which will be revealed by idlozi, by the way, because badimo they reveal things. The secret of what has happened now becomes or is kept a secret. So idlozi doesn't need to converse with you and tell you. So that is why it will be important to start ka lenyelwe la kereke pele, to say thank you, right? And to acknowledge gore with the right and the wrong, le mundao and the msamo problems, you are who you are, ugodile. Awashwa. Right? And this would be taking you back to tabago rapela mudimu o sa muitsing again. It's important. The God of the Bible becomes important from that point of view because now how muitsi. Le Jesu becomes important from that point of view because how muitsi as a relative ya gago. Right? But now you are assuming mlozi. You are talking to mlozi wa gago because mlozi wa gago doesn't need you to be in connection with idlozi. Mlozi is pure energy, right? Pure energy of things working out the way that they should for you. So mlozi anataba, listunya anataba, or udumela mo Jesu or not. So you stay in those churches urapele for some time. Right? So that you can get your ascendance. You must understand them so that when badimo bago they come, right, and reveal the gift to you, then only the spiritual backup, only the psychological and emotional well-being, because most of the karmic debt that you have is as a result of these past karmic debts, but you cannot resolve karmic debt yabadimbahao until you've resolved your own. So how can I go kerekeng? Now lenyalo le senyegile. Now lenyalo le senyegile wa bona no jumpa ma fence. Right? O kena go kerekeng and the kereke moya, the first thing they do is they tell you arabatle bujwala. Because ununso tago all these years, because maybe you're having stress or you are prone to depression or whatever the case, it's a karmic thing coming maybe from the bloodline. Right? Ununso le this, ole this, ole that, ole that. So lenyalo la go kerekeng la go hona fela gore you can resolve your own karmic issues. So that oska buela or wilo bereka badimo. Ulukisa kama ya badimo but ya gago idutse. right? So do go to a church, or you start to do the work ya seporofeto, right? And seporofeto, you start easy, right? You start either go Israel. I highly recommend it. I can't tell you, my friends, Barki recruiter, right? I highly recommend it. And like I said to you guys in the one live that I did when I was addressing Christy, that Badimo Baka told me I haven't even begun. And they told me that I managed to enter a master class Yabadimu Balona as Manyeloi because of Israel. Why? Because Linyeloi la Israel ki Israel. And who's that? Who's that? Kimudimo Fingo. So through the blank canvas, your ancestors, all of your ancestors, and all of the ancestors of the people that I had readings with, they were imparting a teaching to me. Because without even being aware, I was not really recognizing Badimo Baka. But Badimo Baka could not have me in that state because I was not in the right msamo. I was not at the right place. Where I belong. Right? Because akatswa kamulao. They tried to tell me many times. Right? I didn't know. Right? I thought they pilel. So now I am at a place where I can go and start either ka Israel or ka St. John. Do not discount St. John's impact. Go St. John, baleta di kerese tse white, fair. 7 white candles. So when they are there, go St. John, when you are there, urutwa mudimu o pilang in the absence of idlos. Right? So when you've got a blue and white spirit, you must know there's serious issues samo, and there could even be issues tabuloi. Start koting, ukene koting for some time, right? Attend the St. John for some time, even if ubuntiwa di bach. And then they will tell you, with time. There is something behind right? And then if you say St. John, you probably go IPCC, because IPCC is white and red. St. John is white and blue. Or if you are nombadimba gago ba seporofeto, they believed more go tlhabiwa nkuli pudi like Astwana, then o tla go postola pele, which is more blue. Right? Then wakenamo, you start those churches or go postola. Attend a couple of times, attending a few more times. Let that get as a white, yellow, blue with time. Urapel. Right? Then you go white. Kimoya urapel, tukwe white. Then waya go tabing. Wait to go rapela go tabing. Don't even need yet think of taking pepo yet. Also anymore. Tamali snip or corner, also cone it a fail. Lurapela go tabing. Right? Why? Because kalinyelo la seporofeto la go kirikeng. Tapelo go tabing is there. It's a known thing. Jesus went to the mountain. Right? Moses also went to get the 10 Commandments on the mountain to talk to God. So go tswa gore mo tabeng ke mo modimo wa leng teng wa go kerekeng. Then go tabeng we lo rapela go teng. Right? After that, then you go where there's a water source. Right? A small stream of water. A river with a zapata. Right? If you can go kerekeng blue and white, it doesn't matter what ke feng. Then linyelo la go la ko metsing will automatically work in the church. Right? Then you go now, o kana ilo hlola. Now o kana hlola. And you start to dream of the toro tsa gago, and that o kana ilo hlola now wa ya ge lo tlhaba madi. You must be in a place of alignment somewhat with your prophetic spirits. Ba kgotsofetse before o ka simula with us tlhabelo, because setlhabelo is like the Old Testament of the New Bible. Of the Bible, right? So New Testament is what churches are founded on, right? Hence the belief in Jesus. Before Jesus, bagolo ba mole ne ba bua ka bo Abraham le bagolo ba bona. So it means the Old Testament now is moving you back into the space sa badimo. And that is why it's important. Wetse dithapelo, o kene dipata o ye ko nokeng. Wetse le magobe. Then wa qala wetsa ditšheso. Then wetsa ditlhabelo. Now you are moving into the space ya sedimo wetsa bojwala ba setso now. Right? And from there onwards, the beads, everything, dilo tsa gago di a tlhakana ya no. Di a simula di a tlhakana. Should you be required go lo twasa? A go no bana le bothata. Right? But I want you guys to be aware of something. Gore, if una le nyelwe la seporofeto, it means it's somebody who didn't do right. And badimo ba bo kokona bo mkhulu, I never ba dumela mo ntwaso. In as much as these churches, Postola, St. John, Luko ZCC, ba go bolella gore you cannot be mo profeta o rapele modimo o bo rapele Satan. What do they mean about that? What do they mean when they say that? Right? Their belief is that badimo ba setso. Remember, these are people that need to really keep some of the pirita bone away. Right? And again, the pirita dilo tsa khale tse leng gore now ha di bonagale gore gantle mmero kwa tsona ke eng. And the belief in the New Testament is that Jesus Christ is the lamb that has died. So there's no need for blood. So if now only a prophetic gift, ubu simula ujantwaso. Now you must know you are going into the space of mudimu wa Satan or osing one need. You guys know now ntwaso or ukutwasa is as a result of Ndao spirits. They are actually the orchestrators of your ancestral gift. Ndao is karmic. The Bible requires or looks at anything karmic as evil. So that is why you start with profito. You go there. Then how faith? You have time and then you go right? Not necessarily maybe badimba they are antichrist. But it is because of the perspective of the two spiritual gifts and the two opinions of Sidimu Sahahu. Right? And from there on, you need to find tact. You need to find tact to move around your gift. Most probably, right? Because if they've allowed you to have a prophetic gift from the Jose Libi or the wrong ancestor, the ancestor that shouldn't be there or but is, then they'll give you a gift where you can have makobongo li di right? And not necessarily khojantwas. And then you will need a separation of space. You will have your ndumba, right? And then you will have your church or the other room, ailing kereke. And that's why going back to Tabakor, raba separate, because we say you can't serve mudimu le Satan. But what that really means is you can't have badimu basitsu abasangoma, because the belief is that, you know, with our ancients, uguba umgoma is uphuzu phalazi igazi. That's the long and short of it, right? Or you can't use animal parts and urapele at the same time. That's the belief, especially amongst Batu Abahulu, right? So in a way, you create a sacred space for both your families, going back to your mom and your dad's family, and all of that, right? Then waba arula now, making the space where you truly belong, right? And who you should have truly been, right? And the space of who you truly are. The two, abangoma, amadlozi, wesintu, are who you should have been. Kibo makubetse for me, right? My father's people, kibo bukhatsu. I should have been bukhatsu, but I am makubetse. So makubetse, to some extent, will give me a prophetic gift, right? But it's not working like that for me, and I think for a lot of you guys, right? for other dynamics. Actually, we can actually escalate this. But the point is, the one side of you is the prophetic, the evolution of you as the msamo, the walking msamo. Msamo o eleng gore o kopano ya madi a badimo ba gago gore bona ba rata or ba rata or ba dumedisa badimo ba bone or ba tlhabile or ba tlhaba. Ko molaong wa kereke, prophetic spirits, they don't require you gore o tlhabelwe yet. Right? And they don't require you gore o itse gore rrago ke mang. Jesus doesn't require that. He says if you believe in him, you will enter heaven. Kulungile. Right? So the prophetic side of indumba yako, or the church side, or unalindumba yako kerekeng, that's the part that says, I am what I am. And then ndumba is the part where God speaks to Ezekiel and says, Son of man. Now mudimu ubualwena as the son, moramoto. Right? It is spot on. So that is actually what you should do. I hope to do a class one day on how to progress. Right? We do the color candles, and that, and now we struggle to even read them. But I'd like to actually maybe do a class, I don't know when, on how to progress, to move your gift into Bungom, right? In closing, the most powerful candle combination is the red, yellow, blue, and white candle combination. Can I tell y'all? Those candles are the primary colors. Those are the best candles. Even before Twasa, I know the red candle badimba we might say no, don't, because dibata after winter se tlhabelo o ke modimo wa tlhabelo, right? And they might say we just want white, yellow, and blue. Not a problem. But the 4 color candles, can I say as an advice to all spiritualists, use these color candles and acknowledge them, because every one of these candles, they represent an element, right? And these elements, it's not elements that you just light, it is elements o di berekelang. So thokozani bogogo nabomkhulu. Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys at the seminar. I can't wait to see you guys at the seminar. I'm gonna put up the link still to the seminar. Yeah, we wanna just finish organizing everything by the 15th of August. Stress the last minute. So itukiseng and yeah, itukiseng and yeah. Can't wait to see all of you guys. Have a great Wednesday. I'm still healing. But look. Have a great night. Be blessed.